commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious and ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity, Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to provide so much guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Let us move on to our next part of the session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all joined this morning?
हरे कृष्ण विनीता गंधर्विका माता जी नरवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी प्रभुशानत हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvindaksha Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksha Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining and giving your association every day. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Kansas City this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Mataji, you are in different place every day. Yesterday also you have told different name. Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wherever you are, connect to Bhakti Sangha. Yes, right, Mataji, Tiffany Mataji, welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and to all the assembled devotees. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association and beautiful chanting every morning.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and chanting early morning and mid-morning and giving your association. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees on the call. This is Anita from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. And thank you so much for all the services that you do for Bhakti Sangha. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Prabhupada. And Guru Maharaj is my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Rana.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining regularly and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your sweet association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the assembled devotees. This is Sushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Sushmita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Thank you so much for all the services that you do for Bhakti Sangha. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. This is Srinivas from Hyderabad, India, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Srinivas Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining, and it has been a long time. I cannot hear your name. After a long time, again, I'm hearing. Prabhuji, please join us. Hari Bol.
Sure, Mata. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Mataji for joining every day, mid morning, early morning and giving your association Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Varsha from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Varsha Mataji, thank you so much Mataji for joining every day and giving your association. Hari Bol, welcome to the call. Is there anybody who would like to announce their names? Okay. In the Mataji will start recording. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu ji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto chapter 24 verse 21. Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Prabhu for your valuable time and association this morning. Before I hand over the call to you, I would request Raj Prabhu to give brief introduction. Raj Prabhu, over to you Prabhu. Welcome to the call and thank you so much for all the services that you do for Bhakti Sangha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam to you too. Here is a brief introduction for Prabhuji. His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and is a brahmachari with ISKCON Chopati area. Prabhuji has done metallurgical engineering and Prabhuji joined Pennsylvania State University and graduated with a PhD in material science in 2007. While at Pennsylvania State University, Prabhu took to Krishna consciousness where he was mentored by His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhuji. After he moved back to India, he chose to become a full-time monk at Radha Gopinath Mandir. In May 2010, after his brahmachari training, Prabhu moved to Govardhan Eco Village and served full-time till December 2021. Prabhu is currently in Chennai assisting his aged parents. He is extremely erudite scholar of Vaishnava scriptures and travels far and wide giving spiritual discourses. This is a brief introduction for Prabhuji. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Prabhuji for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning. And as always, your PPT is very informative Prabhuji. Last time I said beautiful, so you said it is not beautiful or what you said, but now I'm saying Prabhuji, it's very, very informative the way you collect information from every places and you put it together and make us understand that this is what all acharyas are saying. So beautiful Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that information. Hare Krishna, please take over, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much. We will start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamite Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srimati Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some Krishna Katha with all of you. It's a great fortune. So today we will continue our discussion from the 5th canto, 24th chapter. So today we will discuss the 21st verse where the cosmological information about the nether regions, the lower 7 planets is described. And in that, fortunately, there is description about Sutal Loka and Bali Maharaj. So, I mean, of course, everything is fortunate in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll read the verse, translation and purport and see what we can learn today. 21st verse. We'll read the verse. Tad bhaktanam atmavatam sarvesham atmani atmada atmatyaiva. So he says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul, sells himself to his devotees such as Narada Muni. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great self-realized mystic yogis such as the four Kumaras also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the super soul within themselves. But it's a one-line purport. The Lord became Bali Maharaj's doorkeeper not because of his giving everything to the Lord, but because of his exalted position as the lover of the Lord. So that's one-line purport about why the Lord became the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. Well, the last many sessions that I have been discussing, primarily philosophical aspects. I have been discussing, why the living entity, how he becomes a devotee, how he receives the seed of devotion, and then about our own practice of devotional service. So today, just for a change, I decided we will just discuss pure katha today, which is quite uncharacteristic of my classes generally. So and the last few sessions also we had it quite interactive, but today we'll keep it purely non-interactive, which is also quite uncharacteristic of the way I do. So this is one episode of Srimad Bhagavatam which is very, very, I really love this episode of Srimad Bhagavatam, the episode of Bali Maharaj. So today I thought I'll speak on how Vamanadev became Bali Maharaj's doorkeeper. Okay. So I'm going to do practically an overview of this whole episode. I mean, almost whole. I will attempt, of course, nothing is in my hands, but I will attempt to do this today and how we can go. So I will directly, without taking much time with the introduction and all that, I'll directly start. I'm not going to start right from the beginning, but till now, Vamanadev has come and he has asked for 3 pieces of land from Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj actually says that, ask for more, I could give you anything. And Vamanadev speaks about the importance of satisfaction, and then finally Bali Maharaj agrees. So that's where we are going to start today's discussion. So just hold on for a second. So I have lot of slides, so I will have to just again. Okay. Yeah. So I will not read the verse, only some verses I will read. Otherwise, I'll just read the translation. So Shukadeva Goswami continues. So when the Lord has spoken to Bali Maharaj that just give me 3 pieces of land, Bali Maharaj smiled and said, all right, take whatever you like. Vanchata Vanchataha pratigrihyatam. Whatever you desire, you can please take. And Vamanaya Mahim Datum Jagraha Jalabhajan. And in order to confirm his promise, he took up his water pot and just to confirm. Okay, just 1 second.
I'm unable
Okay.
to mute Prabhuji.
What, Mataji?
Nothing, Prabhuji. I think you took care of it. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I have mute. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll take care. Don't worry. Okay, just hold on. Okay, let's start. So he took up his water pot to confirm. So Janan Vishnoho Chikirshitam Ushana Vidamvaraha Asureshwaram Shishyam Praha Vishnave Kshmam Pradasyantam. So, Vishnoho Chikirshitam Janan, understanding the exact plan of the Supreme Lord, Ushana Shukracharya, Vidam Varaha, who is addressed here as the best of the knowers, Asureshwaram Shishyam Prahi, he spoke to his the best of the Asuras, the leader of the Asuras, Bali Maharaj, who was his disciple, Vishnave Kshmam Pradasyantam, who was just about to give the land to to Vamanadev. So Shukracharya is addressed here as Vidam Varaha, the best of the knowers, because he is going to introduce Vamanadev to Bali Maharaj. So Shukracharya said, O Vairochane, O son of Virochan, Yesha Sakshat Bhagavan Vishnu Davyaya. Do you know who this person is? This is not just a brahmachari. This is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kashyapat Aditehe Jato Devanam Karya Sadhaka. And do you know he has appeared as the son of Aditi and Kashyapa, who are the fathers of all the demigods, and Devanam Karya Sadhaka. He has come to fulfill the desires of the Devatas. So he says, Namanye yad anartam pratishrutam tvaya etas Namanye, in my opinion, I don't consider yad anartam pratishrutam, this dangerous promise that you have given to this personality. Ajanata, in ignorance, done this. You didn't know that he's our enemy and you have done this. Sadhu, namanye sadhu. I don't think this is proper. Mahan anayaha upagato daityanam. This is going to bring great misfortune to the demons. So just think about it. Don't do it. He's not even asking, just think about it. He's giving an order. Don't do it. So, you know who he is? Yesha Harihi. He is Lord Hari. Maya Manavakaha. He has just dressed himself like a brahmachari. Achidya Sthanam, Aishwaryam, Shriyam, Tejaha, Yashaha, Shrutam, Shakraya Dasiti. He will take away all your land, wealth, beauty, power, fame, and education and deliver it to Indra. So here, Shukracharya is addressing him as Hari. Hari means one who takes away everything. So he is indirectly, Mother Saraswati is indicating that very soon he will steal your heart also. He will steal your mind. Of course, Shukracharya is not meaning this, but this is the internal meaning. Okay. But Bali Maharaj might say that, but I have promised only 3 steps of land to him. I mean, why are you getting so, upset? He has asked me for just 3 steps of land and he is just a dwarf. Well, what's the problem? Let him take these 3 steps. So, Shukracharya is telling, Vishwakayaha, the Lord, he is the Supreme Lord. He can to cover this whole universe. Iman Lokan Kramishyati, and he will step over all the 3 worlds. Trivitramaihi, by 3 steps he can cover the 3 worlds. Oh Muda, you fool. Sarvaswam Vishnave Dattva Katam Vartishyase. If you give everything to Vishnu, how are you going to survive yourself? So don't give it. So Bali Maharaj might say, well, look, I will give everything, he will take everything. At least my promise will be fulfilled. I will not go down as a king who failed to fulfill the promise given to a Brahmana, which is very bad actually. So in response, Shukracharya says that the Lord will occupy the earth with 1 step. Gam Kramatah Pada Ekena Dvitiyena Divam. 2nd step, he will cover the higher planetary system, Swarga. Kamcha Mahata Kayen. So this is, this universe is like a cylinder. Okay. A cylinder has radius or diameter and height, right? So he will cover the height with his 2 steps. Okay. And the diameter with his hands. Okay. In this way, the whole cylinder of this material universe will be covered by him. Dvitiyena, pada ekena gam kramatah dvitiyena divam. With the first step, he will occupy the earth. With the second step, he will occupy the Swarga. Kamcha Mahata and while stretching out hands, he will occupy, the rest of the universe. Tartiyasya kutopatihi. Where will he put? So Shukracharya does. He will. So don't think that at least even if the Lord takes everything, at least you will you can have the satisfaction of fulfilling your promise. Okay, you will be left. He will take everything, and your promise will also not be fulfilled. Okay. Someone is telling that my voice is breaking. So what I'll do is I will switch off my video for now and then continue. Okay. So that's what he says. That so your promise will also not be fulfilled, and then he will take everything also. So what is the use? And what will happen if your promise is not fulfilled? Bhavanhi pratishrutam apradatuhu manye yah pratishrutasya pratipadaitum anishah nishtante narake. Because you will be unable to fulfill your promise given to a Brahmana. You have to go to hell and suffer. Then Bali Maharaj says, well, look, I may not be able to fully fulfill my promise. I may not be able to give 3 steps. At least 2 steps I can give. At least part of my promise will be fulfilled. So rather than refusing to fulfill my promise, at least I can fulfill part of my promise. So in response to this, he says, na prashamsanti tad dhanam. Charity is not glorified, yena vrittir vipadyate, by which one's livelihood itself is endangered. So you can give in charity, but not at the cost of your own family, your own livelihood. Okay, that kind of charity is not glorified. Don't try to be over smart. That's what here he's suggesting. Dhanam yajnaha tapaha karma loke vrittimato yataha. Don't you know that the Shastras say charity or sacrifice or concentration of mind, fruitive acts, everything is supposed to be performed only according to one's capacity, not beyond that. Right? Then he says that Panchada Vibhajan Vittam Dharmaya Yashase Arthaya Kamaya Swajanaya Cha Iha Amutra Chamodate. So intelligent person will give charity according to the scriptural rules which say that a person should divide his wealth into 5 parts. 1 should be used for religion, second for reputation, third for material objects, fourth for enjoyment, and fifth for maintenance of his family members. Such a person can be happy in this material world and in the next. Okay. So therefore, you don't have to give in charity. This is what the Shastras say. Of course, then in that case, charity will come for elevating him to the higher planet, but not at the cost of the other things. How will you will not have anything left for your for the religion, for your own reputation, for the material objects, for the enjoyment, and for maintenance of your family members. You can't neglect all of that and give in charity. Right? So then Bali Maharaj asked, look, I have already told him that I have something to give. I have promised him. Now, if I say that I have nothing, then it will be a lie. And how can I avoid the sin of lying? So Shukracharya says, look, according to the Vedic scriptures, what is not preceded by Om is untrue. So when you are giving in charity, if you don't chant Om and give, that is not considered to be a promise. Did you chant Om? You didn't chant. So in the strictest sense, it is not untruth. And moreover, Shukracharya says, maintaining your body is more important than maintaining the truth. Ultimately, if by speaking truth you are not even able to maintain your own body, what is the use of maintaining the truth? So therefore, don't do it. And if you don't speak the small untruth, then your body will die. And what is the point of speaking the truth and losing all scope for enjoyment? You will speak the truth, but you will lose all scope for enjoyment. What is the use of that? And then he says, anyway, look, the Shastras criticize, or common men criticize only a habitual liar. Only such people become infamous. You are not a habitual liar. You will not become infamous. Don't worry. And moreover, Bali Maharaj, you should know that the Shastras say, when you are trying to flatter a woman while in joking, or in order to get married, in earning one's livelihood, in dangerous circumstances, in protecting cows and Brahminical culture, or in protecting a person from an enemy's hand, falsity is never condemned. You are in a dangerous position, circumstance. Practically, not just you, your life and the safety of your whole clan is under threat. So at this stage, you should speak a lie. Nothing wrong in that, right? So then, Bali Maharaj, having thus advised the Shukracharya, he remained silent for a moment, and then he spoke. So our Acharya say, why was Bali Maharaj silent for a moment? He was thinking, and he was trying to apply some discrimination. He thought that if his guru advised something against the desire of the Lord, then there would be no fault in disobeying his instructions. So Bali Maharaj was not very eager to disobey the instructions of his guru, but he was thinking in this particular case, because the guru is pushing me to act against the will of the Supreme Lord, I think here I may have to disobey my guru. So thinking in this way, so he does not directly say, okay, I'm going to disobey you here, but he is trying to be as much respectful as possible and trying to communicate it in a perfectly respectful way. So he says that Bhagavata proktam dharmaha yaha na badeta karhichit artam kamam yashovrittim satyam ayam grihamedinam. What you say is right. You said that the dharma that we follow should not hinder one's artha, kama, fame, and vritti, means livelihood. What you say is perfect. That that I should not perform a which will actually challenge my basic economic situation, basic sense gratification, basic fame, and what to speak of that, even the basic means of livelihood. You are right. So, but I will definitely, by disobeying the guru, I accept that I will obstruct dharma, but I will obstruct my bhakti if I disobey the Supreme Lord. This is his suggestion. He is not directly telling this. Bali Maharaj will never speak about bhakti at all. He will not explicitly show his bhakti because he is in the association of Shukracharya and the other demons. They will not be very happy to hear that. So, because naturally demons means Tanaham Dushata Kruran Samsareshu Naradaman Shibam Yajashrama Shubhan Asuri Shvevayonishu Asurim Yoni Mapanna Muda Janmani Janmani Mama Prapyeva Kaunteya Tatoyanti Adamam Gatim. So it is mentioned that Tanaham Dushata Kruran. So Krishna says that whoever hates me, criticizes me, I cast them eternally into demoniac species. So practically, the Asura Yoni is for the atheists. So the atheists, they enjoy in Asura Yoni. So therefore, in the presence of atheistic people, Bali Maharaj does not feel very comfortable expressing his devotion to Bali. So all the while he will be speaking on the platform of Dharma only, even though internally he is doing everything because of his devotion to Krishna. That is what this verse says, right? This verse that we have been discussing today, 5th canto, 24th chapter, 21st verse. So he says, Katam aham prahradihi kitavo yata pratyachakshe vittalobena pratishrutya dadamiti. How can I, who is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, just like a cheater withdraw my promise vittalobena because of my greed for money? Pratishrutya dadamiti, when I have already promised that I will give. Katam aham kitavo yata dvijam, especially how could I do it to a Brahmana? So he's telling that I am the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj was very famous as a very dharmic king according to Shukracharya. But internally, Bali Maharaj is thinking, I am the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, the greatest devotee of the Lord. I should show some devotion. The Supreme Lord has come here. So he says, I am the grandson of Prahlad. My nature is to be favorable to the Lord. This is the hidden indication. He is not directly telling this. Even though he is telling that, oh, Prahlad always followed Dharma, so I should also follow Dharma like that. But actually, Prahlad always followed Bhakti. So Prahlad had already planted the seed of Bhakti in his heart by his mercy. So Prahlad, Bali Maharaj was a Kripa Siddha. And he received that Kripa Siddhi through the intervention of Prahlad Maharaj. So it is mentioned, Kripa Siddha Yagyapatni Vairochani Shukadayaha. The wives of the Brahmanas in Vraja, Bali Maharaj and Shukadev achieved perfection by mercy. They were all, they all received Bhava. So at least Bali Maharaj received the seed of Bhava from Prahlad Maharaj. Now he would achieve perfection by attaining Prema by the mercy of Vamanadev. So that will become Prema in the So Bali Maharaj directly Bhava matured into Prema. That is what is described here. And then he is going to speak something which is purely on the platform of Dharma, just to pacify Shukracharya. He said, don't you know, my dear Gurudev, that the earth said that Nahi asatyat paro adma. There is no greater sinful activity than untruthfulness. And therefore, I think I can bear any heavy thing except a person who is a liar. So the earth says, Sarvam sodumalam rite alika param naram. Alika param means one who is dedicated to lying. I cannot bear the weight of such a liar. So then Bali Maharaj says, Naham bibemi nirayad nadhanyad asukarnavat nastanat chavanam nutyor yata vipra pralambana. I do not fear hell, I do not fear poverty, I do not fear an ocean of distress. Nastyanat chavanat, I do not even fear fall from my position or even death itself. As much as I fear cheating a Brahmana, I don't want to cheat a Brahmana. You are a Brahmana, I don't want to cheat you either, my dear Gurudev. So what is the use of wealth one leaves behind on dying? Should it not be used to satisfy a Brahmana? What is the use of that wealth? So he says that Bali Maharaj says, if by your order a Brahmana is not satisfied by charity, what is the result of that wealth which one gives upon dying anyway? If I don't give this to this Brahmana and earn some piety, fame, etc., I am not going to take this wealth with me. Therefore, isn't it appropriate that I should give this wealth for his pleasure and earn some piety and fame? So now he knows that he is Vishnu. Why is he speaking as if he is Brahmana, Brahmana, Brahmana and not quoting Vishnu? He says, though he knows Vishnu is his Lord, he does not give respect, obeisances, and prayers to the Lord by his increased bhakti in order to not give sorrow to Shukracharya and the demons. Because they were all Tanaham Dvishata Kruran. They were all Dveshis. So he didn't want to explicitly displace devotion. So therefore he addresses the Lord as a Brahmana in order to hide his bhava for the Lord. So he's arguing everything based on, oh, he is a Brahmana, I have to give, that is dharma, that is dharma, that is dharma. He's not talking about bhakti because that cannot be understood by these people. Then he says, Dadichi, Shibi, and many other great personalities were willing to sacrifice even their lives for the benefit of people in general. So for people in general, Dadichi, Shibi, and others sacrifice their lives. So, and I am not sacrificing my life. He asked me for just some insignificant land. And he says that time has destroyed all enjoyment of demoniac kings who did not turn from battle and who enjoyed the earth. But time has not destroyed whatever reputation they achieved. You said, I will lose my reputation by giving this wealth. I don't agree with this point. People, Kshatriyas who were valorous on the battlefield, they lost their lives and wealth, but they gained fame. Similarly, if I lose my wealth by giving in charity, I may lose my wealth, but I will not say that I will become infamous by giving in charity. In fact, I'll become infamous by refusing to give in charity. So he says that Shukracharya may say, without regard for future reputation, one should not give away one's temporary assets. You know, this will be helpful for your future reputation. Don't give it up. He says, well, wait, I do not subscribe to this philosophy. Time has taken the present and afterlife enjoyment of kings who returned from battle, who enjoyed the earth. Time destroyed it all. Time destroyed their life. Time destroyed their wealth. But time did not destroy the fame they achieved. Therefore, one should attain fame and nothing else. But was Bali Maharaj after fame? Did it even bother him? So here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says, however, even this statement is only for pleasing Shukracharya and other demons. Bali did not have regard for fame since he was a pure devotee. So, Kshantir Avyartakalatvam Viraktir Mana Shunyata Asha Banda Samutkanta Namagane Sidaruchi Asaktistat Gunakyane Pritistat Vasatistale. These are the symptoms of a person at the stage of bhava. Here was Bali Maharaj who was at the stage of prema. Mana Shunyata, absolute humility. So, therefore, he had no desire for fame. But he knew when to speak the language of Shukracharya and when to speak the language of a devotee. So with Shukracharya, he spoke a language which Shukracharya could understand. Fame is something he will understand. Wealth is something he will understand. But bhakti is not something. So then he says that actually the glory of a merciful giver is to become poor by fulfilling the desire of requester. The real glory is if he gives in charity and he himself becomes poor, such a person is considered to be a great giver, a great charitable person. What to speak of fulfilling the desires of a person like you? My dear Shukracharya, he's a Brahmana like you. He also possesses spiritual knowledge like you. Therefore, I will give whatever the brahmachari desires. So he says that, and in fact, even if you may say that this is Vishnu, but isn't that the personality whom you try to satisfy by performing your yagyas, my dear Brahmana Shukracharya? You perform sacrifices for the fulfillment of yagya. Isn't that personality, even if I consider him to be Vishnu? So let Vishnu be a giver of benedictions or let him be an enemy, but I will give him the land that he desired because that is my dharma. Okay. And then he says, look, he may irreligiously arrest me, even though I am sinless, but still I shall not retaliate, although he is my enemy, because he has assumed the form of a Brahmana. Because he has come in the form of a Brahmana and begged from me, it is my dharma to give. But Bali does not care for dharma. This is just for pacifying Shukracharya. Internally, a different dialogue is going on with Bali Maharaj, between Bali Maharaj and Vamanadev. The external dialogue is nothing that Bali Maharaj cares about. He wants to do this purely for pleasing Vamanadev and for nothing else. But he wants to do it as much as possible while following the etiquette, while not breaching the etiquette of disobeying, of publicly disobeying the orders of his spiritual master. He is doing it, he has to do it, but he wants to do it as gracefully as possible. Okay, like that. So he says that since he is Vishnu of imperishable fame, he will not give up that fame. Killing me in battle, he will take that land. I can never kill him. Because here he says that the Lord will not give up his fame. If I say, okay, I will not give my land to you. Okay. So then, unable to tolerate a broken promise, then he will request me for a fight. Come, let us fight. And because I am a Kshatriya, I cannot refuse fight. And if I fight with him, he will kill me in battle and take the land anyway. So if I refuse, as you say, if I refuse, he is Vishnu. He will not tolerate a refused promise. So he will ask me for a battle. If I fight with him, he will kill me and take the land. Better I give the land and save my life. This is what is the argument. This is the external argument of Bali Maharaj. Even though Bali Maharaj does not care a damn about dying or living, when he has a golden opportunity to please the Lord of his life. Right? But Shukracharya may say, hey, look, wait, in a battle anyone can win. But he may be defeated by you since you are a great warrior, Bali Maharaj. Just come on. Lie down in a battle because Vishnu can never be killed. So what are you suggesting to me? So therefore, so thereafter, Shukracharya, Daiva Prahitaha, influenced by previous offense to the Lord, Shashapa Manasvinam Shishyam, he cursed his generous disciple, Satyasandam, who was fixed in fulfilling his promise, Ashradditam, who was not showing faith in his Guru, Anadeshakaram, and who was willing to disobey the orders of his Guru, Shukracharya decided to curse. So why was Shukracharya, despite being a Brahmana, acting this way? Because he was influenced by previous offense, which was unfavorable for developing the bliss of prema to the Lord. So he could not, he was influenced by his previous offense. That's why he was acting in this way. So he said, Agnya, oh you foolish person, Panditamani, you are a fool, but you think you are very learned. Like Krishna is addressing Arjuna. Ashochan anmashochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase. Gatasun agatasuncha nanashochanti pandita. Similarly, he says, you are a fool, but you think you are very learned, Bali. Dudam stabdosi, you are so stubborn. You are a fool. A fool is okay. Being foolish is fine. But a fool who thinks that he is very intelligent is a problem. And if that fool who is intelligent, he is so stubborn and asmadukrekshaya, and he is willing to the extent that he is willing to disobey the orders of a bona fide guru. Your mat shasana atigaha, because you are ready to disobey my order. Achiratvam brashyase shriyaha. Very soon you will lose all your opulence. This is my curse. This is the curse that Shukracharya gives. But curse not only does curse on a pure devotee fructify, especially curse of a non-devotee on a pure devotee shall never fructify. But not only that, when very exalted devotees are cursed, then the words of the cursing person take on a different meaning, because Saraswati cannot tolerate such words being spoken against the devotees of her Lord. So she will give alternate meaning. So the other meaning is as follows. Mat Shasana Atiga, because of surpassing my order and going to Vishnu, Achiratvam Brashyate Shriyam, he says, like, right? Achiratvam Brashyate Shriyah. You will very soon be bereft of all your opulence. This is one understanding. So another meaning is you will not lose your wealth for a long time, for a short time. Achirat, not for a very long time. For a very short while you may have to lose your wealth, but very soon you will attain the eternal wealth given by Vishnu. This is the inner meaning. Like that. But even after being cursed in this way by his guru, Bali Maharaj was not swayed in his determination. So he worshipped Vamana, offered water, and then gave him the land. He gave him the land. At that time, something which had never ever happened before happened. Bali Maharaj's wife Vindhyavali, who was decorated with a necklace of a golden pot of water for washing the Lord's feet. Now one may wonder, why is it so great? Bali Maharaj's wife was extremely shy, unexposed even to the sun, but was unable to conceal her agitation because of joy. Vindhyavali was also a great devotee. How could it be otherwise? Because she had association of a prema bhakta like Bali Maharaj, and she loved a great devotee of the Lord. What could be a greater recipe for oneself becoming a devotee? Because very quick accumulation of Agyata Sukriti. So she could not conceal her agitation because of joy. She shed tears of joy and understanding the firm bhakti of her husband. She was thinking, my goodness, this is my husband. This is the love. I am feeling so proud. Thus, ignoring maidservant, she personally came carrying a pot out of the confines of her room, which was never seen before. No one had ever seen Vindhyavali because she was unexposed even to the sun. So Bali Maharaj then jubilantly washed the lotus feet of the Lord and then took the water which purifies the universe on his head. Then at that time, the Devatas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, all of them, they started praising Bali Maharaj and showered flowers upon him. The Kim Purushas, Kinnaras, they started singing in jubilation, declaring, exalted Bali Maharaj has performed a difficult task, since knowingly he gave the Lord the entire three worlds. You see here, they knew the plot, apparently. Everyone knew the plot, including Bali Maharaj. It's not that no one knew. That's why when he was, Bali Maharaj actually agreed and gave, they all become jubilant because they knew the happen. Even though he asked for 3 steps of land. So the Kim Purushas, Gandharvas, they were all glorifying Bali Maharaj and telling exalted Bali as knowingly he gave the Lord the entire 3 worlds, which means they knew that he was going to expand as Trivikrama, right? So then, as soon as this happened, the Lord expanded astonishingly and started covering the whole material realm. This was not inappropriate because Bali Maharaj previously had told Vamanadev, take whatever you want. Therefore, the Lord was free to increase his size to take whatever he wanted. Okay. And everyone observed that the Lord's size was increasing. It was covering the whole universe, all the mountains and everything, the birds and animals, everything occupied various parts of his body. So Bali Maharaj basically saw everything in the gigantic body of the Lord, the Trivikrama. So when the demons saw the universal form of the Supreme Lord with Sudarshan Chakra in his hand, and when they saw his thundering bow of intolerable power, they became perturbed. And suddenly the Lord's conch shell, his club, his sword, his shield, and the quivers, all of them, they started offering prayers. All the paraphernalia of the Lord, they started offering prayers to the Lord. And then all the Lord's associates headed by Sunanda, they started offering prayers to the Lord. So the Supreme Lord then covered the earth belonging to Bali with one footstep, and he covered the sky with his body and all the directions with his arms. Padam Vitiyam Kramatastrivishtapam Navai Tritiyaya Tadiyamanvapi Purukramasyangriruparyato Maharjanabhyam Tapasaparam Gataha. Padam Vitiyam, with his second step, Kramatastrivishtapam, he covered the heavenly planets. Navai Tritiyaya Tadiyamanvapi, there was not even one small spot remaining for the Lord to keep his third step. Urukramasya angrihi upari ato mahar janabhyam tapasa paramgata. The Supreme Lord's feet extended beyond Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. So, like that. So, Acharya say, after covering the earth, the second step using his third foot covered the heavens, Bali's dwelling place. For the third step, there was no room left. Even though Vamana requested only 3 steps of land, his arms and upper body spread over the sky. This is not improper, since the word land also includes everything above the land. This is not improper. Everything above the land also belongs, right? Like if you purchase a land, you can construct a 1-story building, 2-story building, 3-story building, 4-story building. It's up to you, as long as you use only your allotted piece of land, right? So others explain that the second step itself included the sky, and thus the Lord covered everywhere with the second step. So the second step increased in size. From Maharloka, Janaloka, and then Tapoloka, it went to Brahmaloka. Some say that his toenails broke the shell of the universe. Others say that he broke the 8 layers of the universal shell and the Viraja water entered. Then as soon as this happened, Vamana's foot was crossing through Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. And suddenly, the feet of the Lord is passing through Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, and Brahmaji is watching the lotus feet of the Lord. And Brahmaji took advantage of this opportunity. So when the Lord's effulgent feet was crossing through Brahmaloka, Brahmaji's own effulgence became dim by the light from the effulgence of the Vamana's moonlight toenails. So immediately taking advantage of the situation, he offered respects to the Lord, and the great sages headed by Marichi and by yogis like Sanandana they also offered respects to the Lord, who were all in Satyaloka. The Vedas, Upavedas, Puranas, Samhitas, etc., they all offered respects to the Lord. Then not only that, Brahmaji offered foot water to the Lord's raised feet. He washed the Lord's feet also. Then Brahmaji, who appeared from the Lord's navel, then worshipped the Lord with devotion and praised him. And the water from Lord Brahma's pot, which was purified by washing the lotus feet of Vamanadev, became the water of Ganga. So, and falling down from the sky, it purifies the 3 worlds like the pure fame of the Supreme Lord. So, there are 3 standings of what is Ganga. Some people say when the Lord, and that is described here by the Acharyas, some say when the water from his pot purified by washing the Lord's feet became Ganga. But 5th canto says that Ganga arose when Trivikrama pierced the 8 universal shells, Trivikrama's 2nd feet, and the Viraja river, and that Viraja river came through that hole, and that became Ganga. This is the second understanding. And elsewhere it is also mentioned Ganga is directly the liquid form of Narayana. So which is correct? Srila Vishwanath Chakradhakur reconciles this. He says it should be understood that all three of these mix and become Ganga. All three of these mix and become Ganga. So when Trivikrama's lotus feet pierces through the this thing, 8 layers, and Veja water comes, and simultaneously the foot wash of Vamanadev by Brahmaji is from Brahmaji's pot, that also mixes with that, and simultaneously Brahmaji, Ganga is also the liquid form of Lord Narayana. Okay, and this Ganga falls in the sky and purifies the three worlds. Okay, so then Brahmaji and the lords of the planets and their followers in great respect arranged for the worship of their master, who had now taken the size of Vamana again. So they worshipped the Lord by offering Padyam, Argyam, all the Shodashopacharas. They offered prayers and they shouted victory, victory, and all the conch shells, drums, they started playing. And very quickly Jambavan came there, sounding the bugle in all directions, and declared a great festival for Vamana's victory. Right? And when all this was happening, in a few minutes, right in front of the in front of the eyes of the demons, all of a sudden, their master, who was the Lord of the three worlds, had become a total beggar. And the demons Vamanadev had cheated their master, and in the plea of begging for 3 pieces of land, he had cheated them. He had cheated their master. So they became indignant and they spoke as follows. Oh, this Vamana is certainly not a Brahmana, but the greatest of cheaters, Vishnu. He has assumed the form of a Brahmana and covered his form and is working for the interests of the Devatas. Okay. So our enemy Vishnu, dressed in the form of a begging brahmachari, has taken away all the possessions of our master, who, because of his position in performing sacrifice, has given up the power to punish. Because he was performing sacrifice, he has given up the power to punish. So he says that our Bali Maharaj is always fixed in truthfulness, and this is especially so at present, since he has been initiated into performing a sacrifice. He is always kind and merciful towards the Brahmanas. He cannot tolerate speaking lies at any time. So he will not do anything. Therefore, it is our duty to kill this Vamanadev. Okay, and in this way, even though Bali Maharaj did not want, they took up their weapons and started rushing towards Vamanadev. As soon as they rushed, the Vishnu Dutas and the associates of Lord Vishnu, they took up their weapons, and while smiling, they very easily defeated them. Nanda, Sunanda, Jaya, Vijaya, Prabala, Bala, Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Vishwaksena, Garuda, Jayanta, Shrutadev, Pushpadanta, Satvata, as powerful as 10,000 elephants, they killed the demoniac army. Now you may say, wait. Where did Jaya and Vijaya come? Jaya and Vijaya have come down, right? Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, then Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and then much later, Shishupal, Dantavakra. Now, how have they accompanied Vamanadev here? One may ask, right? So the explanation given by the Acharyas is that in order to show the frightful nature of offending the devotees of the Lord, expansions of Jaya and Vijaya fell from Vaikuntha. So this is the explanation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Jaya and Vijaya did not come down. Only expansions of Jaya and Vijaya came. Okay. The original forms remained in Vaikuntha, and in the present pastime, they assist the Lord in the fight. Their expansions playing the roles of demons stayed in the material world until Krishna liberated them. So it was only the expansions of Jaya and Vijaya. Right? It was not Jaya and Vijaya also. So when Bali Maharaj saw that his soldiers were being killed in this way, so he remembered the curse of Shukracharya, and he told them, he started preventing his angry soldiers from fighting. So he said, look, please hear my words, do not fight, stop immediately. Time is not in our favor. Okay. So when time is against us, it is not possible to overcome that which has the power to create happiness and distress of all living beings. Okay. So that supreme time is not in our favor. No one can surpass that time, influence of time. So these very same followers of Vishnu, the Devatas, were defeated by you when the time was right. But now the fate and time is not on our side. So we have to wait. Don't worry. Don't fight and lose your lives. Just save your lives and wait for the right time. Like that Bali Maharaj said. Because these demons are atheistic people, will not understand instructions given by Bali Maharaj. So he spoke in a language that they could understand. So previously these very same devatas were defeated by you, right? You are capable of defeating, but be intelligent. Don't be foolishly aggressive. When the time is not right, you have to strategically take a back step. Okay, save your lives and wait for the right time. That's what he said. If providence is in our favor, we shall be able to gain victory over them. Therefore, we must wait for the time which will be favorable to us. Therefore, being ordered in this way, the demons agreed and they entered the lower regions of the universe while being beaten by the associates of Vishnu, which means they didn't retaliate, they didn't try to retaliate. They said, okay, fine. Thereafter, the sacrifice got over. And Garuda perfectly understood the desire of his master and he bound Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Purana. What did Garuda understand? What were the Lord's intentions? So Garuda understood the Lord's intentions. What was the Lord's intention? He understood, having accepted all of Bali's possessions, my master now desires to accept Bali's very self. That's why Bali is the exemplar of Atmanivedana. Garuda understood a very epic event is going to happen right now. My master wants to glorify Bali Maharaj. And my way of assisting my master is binding this Bali Maharaj now. He wants to own his own devotee. And what could be such a greater thing for a devotee than to be owned by the Lord? The devotee feels that he owns the Lord and the Lord feels that he owns the devotee. This is called as Atishaya Mamatva. Atishaya Mamatvankita. This is a symptom of prema. This intense feeling of possessiveness towards the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord, if he feels the same way towards the devotee, that is the perfection. Garuda sensed it right. And he understood his role. My role is to bind Bali Maharaj now. Unable to pay his debt, the Lord will become Bali's doorkeeper. So who is the debtor here? Not Bali Maharaj. Garuda feels, my Lord will become hopelessly indebted to Bali Maharaj, and in order to repay his debt, he will become the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. In order to broadcast to the world the Lord's dependence on his devotee and the excellence of his devotee, I will show everyone Bali's indestructible fortitude by punishing him. This is what was the Lord's intention. I will show to the whole world my Bhritya Vashyata, how I am controlled by the love of my devotee. And I want to show the excellence of my devotee Bali Maharaj. I am not the hero here. I have come to glorify my devotee. My devotee is the hero, undisputed hero. I want to show this. And very clearly Garuda understood. And thus he played his role. He bound up Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was thus arrested by Vishnu. There was a great roar of lamentation in all directions throughout the upper and lower planetary systems, because all of that belonged to Bali Maharaj. Vamanadev then spoke to Bali Maharaj, who was tied with the ropes of Varuna. He had lost all wealth but undisturbed in his intelligence since he had become most famous. He remained completely undisturbed. So even though Bali lost all wealth, he remained undisturbed in intelligence, because though he lost all wealth, he gained all fame. And what is real fame? Real fame is to have a bona fide master. Who can be a greater bona fide master than the Supreme Lord himself? So he will become famous as the bona fide servant of the bona fide master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamanadev. Right. So then, Padani Trini Dattani Bhumer Mahyam Tvayasura Dvabhyam Kranta Mahi Sarva Tritiyam Upakalpaya. Now he is so-called rubbing salt in the wound. He is already bound. O Asura, O king of the demons. Tvaya Mahyam Dattani Padani Trini Bhumehe. I thought you promised to give me 3 spaces of land. Dvabhyam Kranta Mahi Sarva. By 2 of those spaces, I have covered the whole universe. Triyam Upakalpaya. Can you please tell me where I can keep the 3rd step? Because as far as the sun shines with its rays, and as far as the moon shines along with the stars, and as far as the clouds pour rain, all throughout the universe is in your possession. You are the Lord of this universe. But I have covered all of that in just 2 steps. But you promised for 3. Can you please tell me where can I put the 3rd step? Padaikena maya kranto bhurloka kamdishastanoho swarlokaste dvitiyena pashyataste swamatmana. Maya pada ekena bhurloka akrantaha. With 1 step I have occupied bhuloka. Kam dishastanoho. With my body I have covered all the sky and all directions. Te pashyataha. And while you are watching, dvitiyena swam atmana. Te swarlokaha. With my 2nd step, I occupied Swarga, which is owned by you. So Bali Maharaj says, what can I do if I cannot fulfill my promise, my Lord? You tell me, what can I do if I cannot fulfill my promise? The Lord says, Pratishrutam adatuste niraye vasa kishyate vishatvam nirayam tasmad guruna cha anumoditaha. Pratishrutam adatuste. Pratishrutam means promise to give charity. Because adatuhu, because you have been unable to fulfill this promise of charity, niraye vasa ishyate. Niraye means hell. You are fit to live in hell, for your information. Tasma, therefore, vishatvam nirayam, therefore you enter hell. Guruna cha anumoditaha. Along with your guru, take your guru along with you. Don't leave him alone. Right? So niraye tvam vas. Niraya he speaks twice, right? Nirayam, niraye. You should live in hellish planets. Okay. So this is where he says you should live in hell. The Lord now speaks to show the world the steadiness and pure bhakti of Bali. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana vidyati swarga apavarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshini. This is approved by your guru. You can ask your guru. Your guru knows all knowledge. So Kavinam Ushana Kavi. Krishna says, of all the intelligent people, I am Ushana, Shukracharya. He knows everything. Am I speaking dharma or adharma? You ask your guru. You can ask your learned guru whether what I say now is reasonable or not. But in reality, this is according to Karma Shastra. But Bali Maharaj is not an ordinary materialistic person. Bali Maharaj is a devotee. What is the principle for devotee? In the episode of Ajamil, in the episode of Ajamil, it is mentioned, Jihvana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanama Deyam Chetaschana Smaratika Charanarvindam Krishnaya no namati yat shiraye kadapi tananayadva masato akrita Vishnu Krityam. In instructing his Yamadutas, Lord Yamaraj says, my dear Yamadutas, hear this instruction from me very clearly. Henceforth, bring to me only those people who have never ever served Vishnu, whose heads have never ever bowed to my lotus feet or bowed to Krishna's lotus feet, and whose tongues have never once glorified the name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord. Only bring such people once. If they have once done any of these one things, you should not bring them to hell. This was the standing order of the Yamadutas. Now, how can so therefore a person with even bhakti abhas should not go to hell, because even once if he has chanted the holy name, he is not fit to go to hell. But here is Bali Maharaj, who is a devotee, and just for breaking his promise, how can he go to hell? But then the Lord says, twice he says, Niraye Vasa, Nirayam, Visha Nirayam, enter hell, stay in hell, Niraye, he says. Now, according to Sanskrit grammar, R and L can be used interchangeably. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is many times called as prahlada, because La is replaced with Ra. So similarly, when you replace Ra with La, it becomes Nilaye. Nilaye means the abode of Vaikuntha. So now what he says is, though now I am ordering you to enter my special place, Sutala, supplied by me, after your position there is finished, I will have you enter Vaikuntha. Nilaye. Nilaye Visha. Nilaye Vasa, I have given a special place which is Sutala for you. After that, Nilaye Visha, you will enter into Vaikuntha. This is the secondary meaning. This is the primary meaning, of course. Even though for the outsiders it may seem like he is pushing him to hell. Even though you disregard your Guru because you know he is opposed to me, I understand that he has lost his discrimination out of great affection for you. He is also dear to me, therefore go with him to Sutala. So now you may say, on the external meaning is you go to hell, you take okay. The internal meaning is you go to Sutala, which is a special place I am giving you, and you take your Guru also with you. Well, what is his glory? Why should he come to a special place which is given by you? Well, come on. Yeah, you know, he's connected to you. You are very dear to me. Anyone who is connected to you is very dear to me. So therefore, because he is connected to you, I will allow him also to accompany you to Sutaloka. So he says, the Lord says to Bali Maharaj, Vrita manoratastasya duraha swarga patatyadaha pratishrutasya adanena yortinam vipralambate. Swargaha duraha. Far from being elevated to heaven, what to speak of heaven? Heaven to dur ki baat. Vrita manoratastasya. Fulfilling one's desire. What to speak of going to heaven or fulfilling one's material desires? Yo atinam adanena vipralambate. One who does not properly give a beg. Pratishrutasya, what he has promised. Patati adaha. He falls down to a hellish condition of life. So he falls down to a hellish condition of life. Okay. So even though the meaning is very clear, but how can the Lord speak to his devotees? Therefore, you should look for alternative meanings. You should not look out. The Acharyas have already presented the alternative meaning. He says, since you are my devotee, you should not be aspiring for the position of Indra or Swarga. It is useless. I am willing to give you Vaikuntha. Why do you want to take Swarga? Swargya Duraha. Keep the Swarga far away and come to my Vaikuntha. That is what. Though now you will be situated in Sutala, you are more elevated than being in Swarga, since the place Sutala is not available even in Swarga. Okay. So Vipralambate means not giving properly. Vipralambate, by failing in one's promise. That is the meaning of Vipralambate. But taking another meaning to Vipralambate, V means Vishesha, especially. Pra means Prakrishta Rupena, excellently. Lambate means attain. You especially and excellently attain Artinam. Artinam means the possessor of all four Purusharthas, which is the Supreme Lord. Adanena. Adanena means can means by not giving, or Adanena means to complete, by completely giving what you promised to me. So you have perfectly promised everything to me. You have perfectly fulfilled your promise by especially and by giving everything to me. So therefore you will especially and excellently attain me. Okay. This means that you will attain me as your doorkeeper because of your complete surrender. You are the exemplar of Atma Nivedanam, offering everything to the Supreme Lord. This is the secondary meaning, but this is the inner meaning. But the external meaning is you want to become Indra. You want to become Indra. Go to Swarga and enjoy. Forget about it. You have not even able to fulfill your promise of giving in charity. What to speak of becoming Indra? You are fit to hell. This is the external meaning. Vipralabdo dadamiti tvayaham chadyamanina tad velika phalam bhukshva nirayam katichit samaha. Because you are falsely proud of your possessions and you have cheated me by saying, I will give you, take whatever you want. Tad, for this discrepancy, nirayam katichit samaha bhukshva. You should live for some time in hell. Velika phalam, which is the result of your speaking lie. Okay. But again, how can the Lord speak like this to his devotee? There is another meaning, inner meaning of this. Adyamanina means the direct one meaning is you think you are being very proud, but another meaning is you are more respected by people than even Indra. Why? Vipralabdha. Vipralabdha means because of cheating, but here means because you have attained me especially, therefore you will become more famous than Indra. Therefore I give you this result. Please spend some time in this special abode Sutala, and after that you can take the post of Indra, and after that you can come to my abode Vaikuntha. That is what he says. Now, so then Shukadeva Goswami continues this story. He says, my dear Parikshit Maharaj, you know what happened next? Although mistreated in this way, of course, even though these internal meanings are there, this internal conversation is between Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. Only these two understand. Maybe Prahlad Maharaj and Vindhyavali also are understanding. But everyone else is hearing the external conversation. Go to hell. You want Swarga, you want to become Indra. You are fit just to go to hell and suffer like this, like that. Although mistreated and made to break his promise by the Lord, Bali Maharaj with undisturbed mind spoke the following steady words. So he spoke in double meaning, because the Lord had spoken in double meaning. Bali Maharaj is also speaking in double meaning. Yadyuttama shloka bhavan nameritam vacho vyalikam suravarya manyate karomiratam tan nabhavet pralammanam padam tritiyam purushishni me nijam. Oh, uttama shloka. This is spoken in sarcasm. Of course, loving sarcasm. This is loving sarcasm between the Lord and his devotee, loving devotee. Oh, Uttama Shloka, you are most famous, right? You are Suravarya, you are worshipped by all the devatas. Yadi Bhavan Manyate Mama Iritam Vachaha Vyalikam. Yadi Bhavan Manyate, if you think Mama Iritam Vachaha, that the promise that I made, Vyalikam, is false, Tadritam Karomi. Now I will make it true. Na pralambanam bhavet. I should not be made a cheater. So how are you going to fulfill your promise? Nijam tritiyam padam kuru me shirshni. Put your third step on my head. Now, how would that be a fulfillment of the promise, one may think? So he says, Bali addressed the Lord in a joking way, addressing him as Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka means one who is glorified by everyone. How you are glorified? After begging as a dwarf for 3 steps of land, then you attempted to take the land by 3 steps as the gigantic form of Trivikrama. You came as a dwarf and you asked me for 3 steps. You could not have to defeat me by cheating. In this way, you reveal your lack of desire as a brahmachari. You spoke so much about satisfaction. And now you have shown your level of satisfaction, right? You have taken the whole universe and still you are asking, where can I put the third feet? And you are Uttama Shloka, no doubt, like that. We devotees become mad with bliss on drinking this nectar of your fame. We become mad in bliss drinking this nectar of your fame. Though you are the husband of Lakshmi, what wealth do you need? But you have come to beg. Is it glorious for the husband of Lakshmi to beg? Like that. And then he says that you act disgracefully by desiring more land by trick, cheating brahmanas in the guise of a brahmachari, showing desire for material objects, exhibiting lack of peace, showing anger and punishment to the person who gives. Has anyone ever given so much in charity to anyone in the history of this universe? I am giving, and this is the way you treat me. Of course, this is spoken in jest, joking, loving sarcasm. And this is an internal dialogue. The other people who do not have that devotion cannot understand this. And you destroyed the intelligence of my guru who had the knowledge of scriptures. You sided with Indra and others who were barely touched with a small drop of your mercy. And you sided against me who became submerged in a great sweet ocean of your mercy. Thus the poets glorify you as most famous. In this way, he speaks meaning in joking, loving sarcasm. This is the inner meaning of addressing him as Uttama Shloka. Yadi manyate mama vachaha velikam. If you consider my words false, what is the meaning of that? It means that actually it will be impossible for you who desire to conquer unjustly your devotee to make the words of your devotees false. So he says that, my dear Lord, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. That is your promise. And that too, you didn't want to make the promise because you may break your promise. You asked Arjuna to go on promise because you will never make the words of your the promise of your devotee to go false. So therefore, I have promised to give you. Will you allow my promise to be broken? No. And then he addresses the Lord as, oh Devavarya, oh Lord, worshipped by the Devatas. This means that you have been requested by the Devatas to take the land from me and give it to them for their enjoyment. They have come to you and they have not asked for you. They have asked you to get material land from me and give it to them. Take it. I will make my promise true. My words should not be cheating. Your words, however, cheat the Devatas. They think that you are actually acting for their benefit. But you are cheating the Devatas. My words don't cheat because you will never allow my promise to be broken because I am your devotee. But your words of promise is the devatas. Since you offer to them dharma, artha and kama and not the nectar of your lotus feet when they praise you. They praise you, you give them only dharma, artha, kama. Therefore, put your third step on my head. Now you may say, oh, how does that fulfill the promise? One may say, do not think that since you have covered the universe by 2 steps, there is no use in putting your foot on my head. This act will be greater than the wealth gained from your 2 steps, since your taking possession of the owner of the wealth is greater than taking possession of the wealth. This is understood. Okay. So, you know, the owner of the wealth is the great person because he had the capacity to gain such great wealth. So, if you take his wealth away, because he is a capable person, he can earn that wealth again. So, along with taking that wealth, to take possession of that owner is the greatest thing. Because when you take possession of the owner, because he is capable of earning everything, whatever he earns will be yours. Therefore, your third step, with your third step, you have actually gained something valuable. With your 2 steps, you have not gained something very valuable. Your third step is the real valuable step. Put it on my head. This is what Bali Maharaj is telling here. And then he says, look, I do not fear living in hellish life. I do not fear falling down from a position. I do not fear being bound by the ropes of Varuna like you have bound me. I do not even fear suffering unbearable calamities or anything. I only fear defamation by the devotees. Let me not be defamed by the devotees. The devotees should shower their mercy upon me. Like that. But the Lord may say, you don't want to be defamed by the devotees? I, the Supreme Lord, have bound you like an animal. What could be a greater cause of infamy? Have I not defamed you? Now, so he says, Pumsam shlagyatamam manye dandam arhatamarpitam yamna mata pita brata suhridascha adishantihi. So he says, Mata pita brata suhridascha, a father, mother, brother or friend, yamna adishantihi, he does not punish his subordinate in a thoroughly correct manner. They cannot properly punish their subordinates. Manye dandam arhattama arpitam pumsam shlagyatamam. But I regard this punishment that you have given me as the most praiseworthy thing, as the most exalted punishment, because your punishment can give the greatest results. Then the Lord says, hey, you are an asura and you are glorifying me for helping you, but am I not famous for helping the devatas and not the demons? So he says, Tvam nunam parokshaha naha asuranam paramo guruhu. You are helping us in a paroksha way, in an indirect way. How? Yaha chakshuradishat vibramsham naha aneka madandanam. Because by giving us the eyes to see the blindness that has consumed us in the form of pride. By defeating us, you have given us the eyes to see our own blindness in the form of pride. But by giving them all the wealth, you have not removed their blindness. You have allowed them to stay blinded by their desire for wealth. But by taking this away, though he's telling asuras, this is specifically meant for Bali Maharaj's devotee. So then he says, that what to speak of me? I am at least a devotee, of course, right? Which he is not speaking very explicitly. What to speak of me, your dedicated devotee? Even the demons who hated you got your extraordinary mercy. Tasmad vairanu bandena nirvairena bhayena va snehat kamena va yunjat katanchid nikshate pratak gopya kamat bayat kamso dveshat chaidyadayo nripa sambandhat drishnaya snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam vibho. Narada Muni is telling, that the Lord, even if one's heart is absorbed in the thoughts of Lord, even in the mood of hatred, Krishna awards them liberation. So therefore, I don't feel shame, uh, you know, uh, so therefore I do not feel extremely ashamed and I do not suffer. So then he says, my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj, although tortured in many ways by his father Hiranyakashipu, still remains surrendered to you. Right? So he says that this is what I am coming in the pedigree of Prahlad Maharaj. And because I am connected to Prahlad Maharaj, you should be affectionate to me. Please be affectionate. And why did Prahlad Maharaj ignore his father and surrender to me? Because he understood that what is the use of this material body, which anyway will leave that owner at the end of life. And what is the use of all of one's family members who are all plunderers of wealth? What is the use of a wife who is the source of increasing material bondage? And what is the use of houses which simply wastes away life? So discerning in this way, my grandfather surrendered to your lotus feet, which dispel all fear. Yeah. Even though you destroyed his whole family. And I wish to follow in the footsteps of my grandfather. So therefore, Bali Maharaj says, only by good fortune have I been brought under your lotus feet. Daivena Nitaha. It is only by good fortune, and the good fortune is my connection with Prahlad Maharaj. Tyajita Shrihi Atmaripo Api. Deprived of all my wealth by you who are the enemy of our family. So he says, Atma Ripoho means you are the enemy of my family. Ripu means family. But Atma also means the gross body and subtle body. So by addressing the Lord as Atma Ripu, externally other people understand that that the Lord is the enemy of Bali Maharaj's family. But in reality, he wants to say, you are the enemy of my gross body and subtle body. You want to take my gross body and subtle body and away, and you want to give me residence at your lotus feet. With intelligence blinded by this wealth, a person does not realize the temporary nature of life, where death is continually present. So, like that. At that moment, Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj could not offer befitting respect to Prahlad Maharaj as he had done before. So he simply offered respectful obeisances with his head, while his eyes were filled with tears and his face was lowered in shame. Why was Bali Maharaj feeling ashamed? So, because Bali Maharaj was in a state, he was bound. So, therefore, it would indicate that probably he has committed some offense in order to be bound up. That is one reason. Otherwise, or he was ashamed to see Prahlad because he had suddenly forgotten his constant teachings. The grandfather Prahlad Maharaj had taught Bali Maharaj, don't be proud of giving your charity. Don't be proud of being a charitable person. He had told. And for a moment I forgot. And therefore, out of shame, he had his head lowered. So when Prahlad Maharaj saw the Supreme Lord seated there, he approached the Lord, offered respects. And he had all symptoms of ecstatic symptoms. And then he spoke to Vamanadev. He said, my Lord, it is you who gave Bali the post of a heavenly king, and now it is you who have taken it all away. I think this is good, since you have been merciful to him by taking away his wealth, which caused bewilderment to his mind. This is not true. But sometimes when the son has performed some mischief, and if the neighbor is going to beat him up, the father and the mother, and they themselves come and severely chastise that son in front of the neighbor. so that the neighbor's heart melts. So similarly here, Prahlad Maharaj is not at all taking the side of, apparently not taking the side of Bali Maharaj, but actually Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev, Prahlad Maharaj, all are in one side only. There is no question of taking sides. So he said that you did not take away from Bali what was his. You simply received again what was actually yours. This is a proper act. But bewildered by wealth, even a learned, self-controlled man, while possessing wealth, cannot see the truth about the self. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lord of the universe, Narayana, who is the witness of all people. Good, you actually took everything away, because even learned people, when they are completely bewildered by wealth, they cannot understand the nature of body and soul. At that point of time, Brahmaji wanted to speak something to the Lord. He was very eager. But suddenly, Vindhyavali started speaking, the wife. And Brahmaji remained silent out of respect for Vindhyavali, because she is the more affected party. So she had the right to speak. Okay. So she lowered her head out of natural shyness of a woman. She said, "Oh my Lord, you have created the entire universe." She is also playing the role of, she's a doting wife. She, she has only two masters. One is her husband, the pure devotee Bali Maharaj, and Vamanadev. Okay, so so she is speaking in this way, perfectly understanding. So we should understand that Bali Maharaj, Vindhyavali, Vamanadev, Prahlad in one side only. Even though they are apparently speaking, apparently Prahlad Maharaj is criticizing Bali, Lord is criticizing Bali, Vindhyavali is criticizing Bali, but no one is criticizing Bali Maharaj. Everyone is glorifying him, right? So you have created this universe for your pastimes. Atmanah kridartam, idam trijagat te kritam. Tu, but aparakudiyah, foolish, unintelligent men like my husband, like that. Everyone knows whom she is talking about, have claimed proprietorship for their material enjoyment. Shameless, ascending to a high position and thinking they are the doers. What can they offer to you, the creator, maintainer, and the come on, you were so eager when Bali Maharaj was eager to offer the three lands. You came running with great joy with a golden pot of water to make that promise. Now you are criticizing him. This is all match fixing. Everything is fixed. Everyone knows the internal conversation. Not everyone. The great devotees like Vindhyavali, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev, they know the internal dialogues that is going on between them. So after Prahlad and Vindhyavali pleased the Lord by spiritual statements, Brahma pleased the Lord by practical considerations. Brahma, while not on that level, on a lower level, because he is showing great affection for Bali Maharaj, he has also pleased Vamanadev. Brahmaji said, "What are you doing, my Lord? Please release this person who is bereft of everything. He does not deserve to be punished further. You cannot punish him like this." Bali Maharaj had offered all lands, all planets, whatever he has earned by his pious acts. Disturbed mind, he has offered his body to you. You are not satisfied. Why did you say Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati? What did Bali Maharaj lack? Did he lack bhakti or did he lack the vastu? Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He has given the whole universe. There is a limit. Why you are treating him like this? So you take a person who has offered you water, grass, or even a flower bud, you take them back to Vaikunta. This Bali Maharaj, without duplicity, with genuine devotion, he has offered everything. What are you doing to him? So then Vamanadev speaks to Brahmaji. The Lord said, Brahman yam anugrinnami tadvisho vidunomyaham yan madaha purusha stabdo lokam mam cha avamanyate. He says, "O Brahma, intoxicated by wealth, purushaha stabdaha." A person becomes arrogant being intoxicated by wealth. Lokam mamcha avamanyate. And intoxicated by that wealth and pride, they do not respect anyone within these three worlds, including myself. Therefore, to such a person, I show special favor by taking away all his possessions. Okay. So when a person becomes proud, I take away all his possessions. So then he says, and Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. Sorry. He says, while rotating in the cycle of birth and death again and again in different species, by good fortune, one becomes a human being. Okay. And if a human being is born in an aristocratic family, he performs wonderful activities. If he has personal beauty, if he has education or wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by me. Okay. So if a person, sometimes when he becomes proud, then I take everything away. But despite having good birth, youth, education, wealth, everything, if you see that someone is not proud, you should understand that he is especially favored by me. Okay. And I do not take away his wealth, since there is no harm in his possessing his wealth, because he's not becoming proud. Okay. Although high birth and other qualifications are impediments, because they are causes of arrogance and pride, they never disturb my devotee at all. My devotee does not get disturbed by all these things. Actually, they can cause arrogance and pride in non-devotees, but not in my devotees. Therefore, I gave all the wealth to devotees like Dhruva Maharaj. So to beginner devotees, the Lord takes his wealth away, but he does not, which are cause of obstacles for the devotee. But he does not take away things he has given to the devotees. What he has gained by his karma, he may take, but that which the Lord himself has given, he does not take away. But of course, this is not a fixed rule, because the Lord took a lot of things away from the Pandavas. So this is not a fixed rule. Then Brahmaji catches hold of his head and he says, look, I don't know what you're talking about. You say, okay, you take things away, that is your mercy. And then sometimes you say that your devotee does get. Which category does Bali belong to? What type of mercy are you showing to Bali Maharaj? Is he a neophyte who has become proud of his wealth? So you're taking this wealth away from him to destroy his pride? What kind of, is he a non-devotee? What is he? What kind of mercy are you showing to Bali Maharaj now? So he says, Esha Danava Daityanam Agranihi Kirti Vardanaha Ajayishid Ajayam Mayam Sidan Apina Muyati. Famous Bali Maharaj, foremost among the demons, has already conquered unsurpassable Maya. Even though in dire circumstances he is not bewildered. You see, I have pushed him to the corner, taken everything away. He is insulted in such a way. Sambhavitasya chakirtir maranadatirishate. Krishna tells Arjuna, for a person who has accomplished so much, infamy is worse than death. And here is Bali Maharaj, who has conquered the three worlds, and everyone is watching. And in front of everyone, he is bound like an animal. What could be more insulting? Compared to him, what did Arjuna accomplish? But Bali Maharaj's accomplishment was greater. And here he is bound like an animal. Brahmaji says, look, Brahma, do you sense even an iota of bewilderment in the face or body of Bali Maharaj? So, and he says, he has conquered Maya. So he says, I do not say he will conquer or he is conquering. He has already conquered Maya previously. What is the question of him having arrogance or disrespect caused by He cannot be arrogant or disrespectful. In order to destroy Maya, I take away wealth and power. But when I took this wealth and power from Bali Maharaj, it was not to destroy the pride caused by Maya, but to show the real greatness of Bali Maharaj. It is seen that when people who are bewildered by wealth become greatly disturbed, I wanted to show I have taken everything away. Is he disturbed? Kamat krodhopi jayate. If he had even an iota of attachment to all this wealth and fame, when I took all of that away, he would have become angry and bewildered. No anger, no bewilderment. Therefore, and then he speaks many of these things, therefore, in essence, he says that I wanted to show the real glory of Bali Maharaj. So then he says, I have given him a place, which is Sutalloka, about which we are talking right now, is not obtainable even by the Devatas. He will be under my shelter. He will become Indra after that during the Savarani Manvantara. And after that, he will come back to me, to my abode. And one should not say that the Devatas will give him trouble in Sutalloka. He is under my shelter. I will be his doorkeeper, staying awake all the time to protect him. Until he achieves the position of the king of heaven, he should live on the planet Sutala, which is made by Vishwakarma. Specially made by Vishwakarma. Because it is especially protected by me, in that planet the inhabitants are free from mental and bodily miseries, fatigue, exhaustion, defeat, and all other disturbances. Bali Maharaj, you may now go and peacefully. So it is mentioned that by the will of the Lord, at that moment Sutal became greater than even Swarga. So then he says, go to Sutal and stay there, and my disc will kill all the demons who transgress your rule. I shall always be there with you and give you protection in all respects. I will remain near you. And please don't think that your consciousness will get degraded in the association of demons, because in your association, all these demons will become devotees, and together you all can do Nama Sankirtan. Right? So then Bali Maharaj then accepted this order of the Supreme Lord, and with his eyes filled with tears, his hands folded with devotion, he said, Bali Maharaj spoke. He says, Aho pranamaya kritas samudyamaha prapanna bhaktartha vidau samahitaha yallokapalai swadhanugraho marer alabdha purvopasade surerpitaha. Aho pranamaya kritas samudyama. I was surrounded by these demons. Even though I had devotion inside, I could not express my devotion outside. I could not even offer my pranams to you, my dear Lord. I just had eagerness to express that pranam. Prapanna bhakta arthavidau samahitaha. I just expressed internally and show some respect to you, and you have given me abode which is attained by the perfect of the surrendered devotees. Asura apasade, I am just a low demon. Tvad anugraho arpitaha, but I have received your rare mercy. Yet alabdha purvaha, which has not been received previously by anyone. Lokapalai ramare, even by the devatas. So he says that how is it possible? So after speaking in this way, Bali Maharaj offered his obeisances first to the Supreme Lord, and then to Lord Brahma and Shiva, and then he was released from the Varuna Pash, and then he entered Sutal planet. Okay, and then everything was handed back to Indra. The Swarga was handed back to Indra, and Aditi's desire was fulfilled. Then Prahlad Maharaj comes and he spoke to the Supreme Lord, and he says, "My dear Lord, what is happening here? We have attained mercy that Brahma, Lakshmi, or Shiva, what to speak of others, have not attained. You whose lotus feet are worshipped by the most respected persons in the universe are the protector of us demons in all respects. You are the greatest." And then in this way, he speaks many beautiful, prayers. And then the Lord says, "My dear Prahlad, you also go to Sutala and you will have my constant association there." Like that, he says. Then, accompanied by Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, the chief of the demons, all of them went. And then he has a beautiful conversation with Shukracharya. I will not speak about this conversation. I will take just 2 more minutes of your time just to make a very important point here. Actually, in one sense, if you see Bali Maharaj's pastime, Bali Maharaj and Vamanadev's pastime, it is not that this pastime is there only in Srimad Bhagavatam. This pastime is there in many, many literatures. So just to help you understand the nature of books, the nature of literatures. In all the other literatures, the whole presentation of Bali Maharaj versus Vamanadev is presented as a battle between Dharma and Adharma. And in all the presentations, Vamanadev is the hero, Indra is the benefactor, and Bali Maharaj is the villain. And the Vamanadev's act of sending Bali Maharaj to Sutal is seen as an act of Vamanadev abandoning the villain to the hellish planet. The presentation, because those scriptures are meant for people who are on the platform of karma, who has to think in terms of dharma, adharma. But in Bhagavatam is the only literature where the devotional side is zoomed in, and the internal conversations, we become privy to the internal conversations that are happening. Anyone who hears Bhagavatam's presentation of this episode they will have a split heart. Who is the real hero here? I am sure most people will side with Bali Maharaj and not Vamanadev. At the most, it would be an even contest between Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. No doubt. Indra is a non-entity here. He does not even get the credit of being a villain. He's a non-entity. This episode has nothing to do with Indra. This is a personal pastime between Vamanadev and his dear devotee Bali Maharaj. So therefore in books which are meant for devotees, like Srimad Bhagavatam, which is primarily a devotional literature, the focus light of the pastime is shifted to the hearts, what is happening internally within the heart. Whereas in books like Mahabharata and other such literatures, which are like Dharma Shastras, which are primarily meant for people who are at the most willing to live a pious life, and piety is their all in all, these similar episodes are projected as a fight between Dharma and Adharma. And this episode of Bali Maharaj fight with Vamanadev is presented as victory of Dharma over Adharma. But in reality, this is victory of a devotee and the story of how the Supreme Lord was conquered by the love of his devotee. And this is how Bali Maharaj received the Sutal planet from Vamanadev. So thank you very much for your patient listening. I'm sorry I just spoke and spoke and spoke. If there are any quick comments, if there is time, questions for a few minutes, maybe we can take.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. From a small purport, you bring us to 2 hours class. That's amazing. But it was so beautiful, Prabhu, because I attend some Bhagavatam. I attend another session where we are on Canto 10. But you always hear in Bhagavatam, Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Bali. But I never heard such a elaborated pastime. It was so beautiful, Prabhu. So helpful for me, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it for all the during all the class. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was amazing pastime. Thank you so much. I just loved it, Prabhu. Indulekha Mataji has a question, has hand raised. Oh, so many hand raised now. Indulekha Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you for such a wonderful class. And just like how you explained philosophy, even the pastime was so beautiful. Prabhuji, my question was on, you said you had a verse in which Vamanadev says that you will go to hell, right? So, but then he's taken to Sutala Loka. And this chapter is called Subterranean Heavenly Planet. So this is, Sutala Loka is a
yeah, it is. You can say it's a neither planet, subterranean, heavenly, or you can call it. It is almost in the direction of hell. That way, Niraye, in the direction of hell, like that. Not literally hell, in the direction of hell.
Thank you so much.
Shampro.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Beautiful, beautiful narration of the pastime, Prabhu. I had few questions I was writing down, but over a period of time, the questions got answered, Prabhu, over a period of the class. And it was like a live drama playing in front of us, Prabhu. And with the dual aspects, right? With externally something going on, internally something going on. And how you summarized at the end, Prabhu, this how Bhagavatam is a bhakti literature, right? That was also very, very helpful, how to see the different literatures, Prabhu. So, yeah, Prabhu, I had some questions, but I forgot, Prabhu, now. But very, very nice pastime. And one thing I heard was in 12th canto, as we hear more of Srimad Bhagavatam, it becomes fresher and fresh, right, Prabhu? So it was very, very... Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam, Tadeva Shashvat Manaso Mahotsavam, Tadeva Shokar Nava Shoshanam Nrinam, Yaduttama Shloka Yashonudiyate. Beautiful, that is true. That is the nature of Bhagavatam. And it was nothing new. It is what I just read was still the same 5,000-year-old Bhagavatam. Okay? Yes. But just that. Yeah.
Because we know something, little bit of the pastime. Now, when you traverse to different chapters, to different verses, it was really like a drama, Prabhu, a 2-hour drama playing in front of us. So very nice, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, you and Srila Prabhu.
Mother Gail.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, you also answered a few of my questions that I had, but a couple leftover ones is, one is, it's always puzzling to me that Shukracharya knew full well that Krishna is or Vamanadev is the supreme personality of Godhead, as he knew everything that devotees know, yet he could still speak to Bali Maharaj the way he did against the personality of Godhead. And I know you said that is because of some offense, which I'm curious about what that offense was. But even knowing that it was due to some offense, he was still speaking truth about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how he was able to know this, yet still, advise against against Vamanadev is puzzling to me. The other question I had was about the 5 ways in which wealth should be distributed. Is that for like karma kandis? Because I'm thinking of the 3 ways that Rupa Goswami, I think, is it Rupa Goswami advises? Yeah, so these 2 things I was.
Yeah, the first question is, Shukracharya knew about Vamandev, then how still he could advise against him? Is that what is your question?
Yeah, he knows he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead who owns everything already.
Yeah.
You know, he knows everything.
Well, I mean, this should not be surprising because we also many times know a lot of things, but sometimes out of greed, sometimes out of lust, sometimes out of the urge of so many urges, we get carried away, right? So here was Shukracharya, who was very much attached to his own wealth, his own position. If Bali Maharaj is conquered, then Shukracharya has no standing. Of course, what to do? You know, Shukracharya has taken the position of siding with the demons and in desperation, and especially because it is mentioned that he was consumed by his own offensive mentality. Even though you know the truth, sometimes you cannot act on it because of your own attachments. And of course, the Lord very perfectly utilizes such personalities also in his pastime for enhancing the glories of his own devotees. If Shukracharya played such a critical role in bringing out the true glory of Bali Maharaj. I mean, the whole episode took, Bali Maharaj's glories went up to such a level just because he took a stance against his own guru, despite knowing that he was going to get cursed by his own guru. And there were so many other episodes where when the demons, when the demigods, when Indra disrespected Brihaspati, lost everything to the demons. And here is, and that disrespect was very subtle. But here were the demons who were very conscious about never disrespecting their guru because they knew, because they always wanted to win. And this was a historical stance that Bali Maharaj was taking to openly disagree with his guru just for a small Brahmana boy who had asked for 3 paces of land. And this, and Shukracharya played such a critical role in our appreciating Bali Maharaj actually. Sometimes the villain actually helps you love the hero more actually, because the hero is against all the odds, against all the evil schemes of the villain, and that makes you love the hero all the more. So, and Shukracharya was utilized by Vaman Dev to glorify his dear devotee, and he rewarded, because Shukracharya played that role to glorify his own devotee. He rewarded Shukracharya by allowing him to accompany Bali Maharaj to Sutal Loka. So that is the glory.
I wonder then, is Shukracharya a Nitya Siddha, just playing role, or
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay. So I guess,
I mean, we devotees are willfully inspired to act as instruments, but the Lord can utilize unwilling instruments also. Yeah. So
yeah. And so Shukracharya, let's say he was plagued by the same problems that we ordinary jivas have of this. Remember in your other class you're talking about the competition between our values and our swabhav type thing, right?
Well, in one sense, Shukracharya in that sense did not have like pure devotional values. I mean, of course, he always knew that the demons were against the devatas, and the Supreme Lord was always siding the devatas. It's not that he did not know, but every time they fought with the devatas, they were practically siding against the Lord only, in one sense.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that you I know you said that we are in the same category, but I just find it interesting that he knows so well about the glories of Vamanadev, yet even despite knowing will be against him, because in our case we know, but we are not making deliberate effort to go against Krishna. We are just succumb to our bad side, but in this case, it's not that he's
in the case of Shukracharya also, but he does have a value system, he does have some knowledge, but his attachments, he's succumbing to his attachments here. Mm-hmm. He does not have pure devotional value system, but he does have some intermediate value system, some knowledge that he is the Supreme Lord. You cannot defeat the Supreme Lord, but still his offensive mentality and his attachments have covered his eyes and
okay, but it's not that he has the same values as, obviously he's and I know quickly the other question was about the 5 versus the 3.
That is just for people who are on the platform of karma. That is not like a
right. Karma Kandi type, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for answering all the questions too. Thank you so much for your services, Prabhu, and thank you for such a elaborated presentation. How much time you put in there, I don't know, but it's amazing. I don't think there is any more questions or realization. So with your permission, we can end the class, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. I think your video is frozen now. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, so I think I had some internet connection.
Okay. You're back. Okay, Prabhu. I was asking if with your permission, we can end the class, Prabhu, right? There is no more questions.
Yes. I'm sorry. I took more time.
No. Don't be sorry, Prabhu. It was all nectar. We all enjoyed it so much. I personally just loved that class. I'm probably gonna watch it again on YouTube for some points, but it was amazing, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. So, Prabhu, please give us your association again in the future. We all want you again. Please, we love you on the call, Prabhu, all the time with your lectures. So, dear devotees, let us pay our obeisances to Prabhuji, please. Vancha kalapataru bhashyacha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. His great Balaram Shakti Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, yeah, I think all the devotees are muted. That's why they can't say anything. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll end the call here. Thank you all for joining and see you again tomorrow.